Now get ready for Watching Wyrd, your ultimate destination for mind-bending movie reviews and recommendations. From hidden gems to cult classics, we explore it all. Hosted by storytellers and cinephiles Alan Gamboa, Scott Baker, Rich Restucci, and Hadley Thorne, with a special shout-out to Landis Aldana and Alan Lasseter for their incredible support that help us keep the lights on at Wyrd. Now grab your Coke, popcorn, and tinfoil hat, and let's get weird.
Let's get weird.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Happy Wednesday. I beat you to it, Abby.
Happy and Wednesday. All of the animals behind Scott.
Yeah.
A cat and a dog. And his
and you got skeletons and stuff behind you too, Scott. That's just
yeah, over here. Yeah, he's hanging around. He just won't leave. So
that's house guest.
So you don't think about this week's movies.
Well, Scott, what'd you say, Scott? When we were talking earlier,
I thought these movies were the beginnings were so long, so drawn out, and so boring, except maybe for Gladiator.
I love Gladiator. So can I talk about Gladiator? Can I go ahead and go?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, yes.
Nobody's here. But
hold on. Rich is not going to be here with us tonight, folks. He's got some family stuff he's got to do, but he wishes he was here, and he passes the finger to all of you. So, boss, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Hey, there's Landa. All right.
Landa.
So I'm going to go ahead and get it started. I'm going to kick off talking about Gladiator. And this is one of Ridley Scott's, to me, best movies. It's not just a movie. It's a total experience. It was made in the year 2000, and it stars the mighty, the handsome, and the totally luscious Russell Crowe. It transports you back to the heart of ancient Rome with breathtaking visuals and a story that will leave you gasping. So, basically, the story is about General Maximus Decimus Meridius, a loyal soldier to the Roman Empire, or the Roman Emperor, who finds his life shattered when the Emperor's power-hungry son, played by a chilling Joaquin Phoenix, murders his father and then goes after Maximus's family. Maximus is betrayed and enslaved, forced to become a gladiator. I'm just going to sum it up real quick. Battling for survival in the Colosseum, but the whole time he is planning his revenge against Commodus, which is Joaquin Phoenix. This was one of, I think, Russell Crowe's, was this his breakout role? I know it was like career defining.
I think it was.
But this movie, he just embodied this role. And it also, and y'all are going to have to help me, who played the gladiator that got his freedom?
Dijman Hanju. Is that the one you're talking about? The
he played the
African
wolf
guy?
I'll make fun of his hairy hands in the Wolfman movie.
Oh.
But,
Oliver Reed.
Oliver Reed. That makes more sense. Yes. Oliver Reed. Incredible. Just incredible performances. This movie is more than just sword fights and sand. It explores the serious themes of power, corruption, and the fleeting nature of glory. This is a beautiful movie. It really shows what I think the grandeur of Rome looked like and the brutal spectacle of the Colosseum. This movie also, shows the decline of the Roman Empire. This was a critical and commercial success. I think it won, 5 Academy Awards? I know Crowe got Best Actor, and it got Best Picture, I think. And can someone tell me what iconic line this movie is famous for?
I'm going to get this wrong. I know it. You guys throw it out there in the chat. Somebody throw it out there in the chat. I'm going to act it out. Are you not entertained? Is that it or no?
I love this movie. So I've given my summary. Now I'm going to tell you how I really feel. So this movie, when I saw it in the theater, I sat there and gasped. I was so riveted in the scene at the very beginning when they're fighting in Germania, and the big it was just the whole thing. I really just sat there and I felt like I was part of that battle. I love that movie just for that scene alone when you're opening up and they're unleashing the hounds of hell. And it is incredible. This movie delivers. It is, I'm going to say this, and I'd probably be unpopular for saying it. Hated Gladiator 2. It was a waste of my time. The only thing good about it was the flashbacks to Gladiator 1. This movie is incredible. I think we've probably all seen it, but I am super excited to hear. It held up for me. It held up completely. I want to know what y'all think.
Scott, you want to jump in there?
As a movie, I loved it. It was very action-packed. I love the fact that even though Russell Crowe was dedicated, all the bad guys turned on him. They thought they'd killed him. They'd murder his family. He winds up becoming a slave, then goes back as a gladiator and tries to seek his revenge on the Roman emperor.
Let's stop for a minute and talk about the Roman emperor for a minute. Joaquin Phoenix, yes. Just watching him in this role makes my skin crawl.
Yes.
He's so uber creepy, and the scenes with him and what's his sister's name?
Bridget Nielsen.
Well, that's not her name.
No, Connie Nielsen. Oh, Lucilla. Yeah. Lucilla.
They just skin crawling. And it's so heavily overtoned with incest and rapey and all the stuff. You know, no one talked about that back then. Did that kind of stick out to you? Like, I can't believe we talked about Cersei Lannister and Jaime Lannister, but we didn't talk about this.
I mean, yeah, it reminded me a lot. I did not know that Commodus, Joaquin Phoenix's character, was based on a real life emperor, but it to me it had it was sort of like an implication of Caligula. Yeah. But no, that's what I was about to say when you said it. It was one of his most brilliant roles in this.
He plays creepy too good.
Yes. And the abuse of power, just how it went to his head. How he had to prove himself to Rome by first stabbing Russell Crowe before they had the match. And the scenes were good. Now, I don't know how historically accurate the fight scenes in the Colosseum were, like with the tigers and that. I'm assuming they were probably accurate, but those were great. They did say that Ridley Scott got Rome all wrong. One of the things I looked up a bunch of these history versus TV. They said that, and I don't really see this, that it resembled more of a future dystopia. Scots Rome is a city of vast open public spaces, which they say is not accurate. I don't know. I mean, I've never seen ancient Rome. I don't see a lot of pictures of ancient Rome.
It looks like all the movies I've seen. It must be true. It looks like all the Roman movies I've seen.
The last Roman movie I saw was when Godzilla was sleeping in the Colosseum before going to fight with Kong. It was very good. It was very well done. It was the set designs, the costuming. Joaquin Phoenix was great as the bad guy.
I disagree about the costumes.
Russell Crowe as the dedicated Roman who then becomes revenge-ridden, I think was very good.
We all know at a earlier time in my life, I did medieval reenactment, and
I did not know that.
oh yes, there are
You know that.
pictures out there somewhere on the internet. I'm hesitant to share with y'all, but yes, but her costumes were beautiful. But like the last one that I saw, like when they're at the final battle and in the ring, and she rushes out. She has like a corset on. They didn't have corsets. So I was like, what's, so they took some, I think, creative things there. But it was, other than that, like I said, I don't know. I didn't really think they focused so much on Rome, the city, as they did the arena.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that looked real. It looked real to me.
Yeah, that was very real.
But no, I liked it. Like I said, so I'm just going to poke holes in what y'all have to say to keep the conversation going. Alan?
Are you done, Scott? Or you got
Yes,
more?
I am.
Okay. Like you said, Hadley, the beginning of this with the arrows, the flaming arrows going through
Oh yeah.
the sky, towards the barbarians. That was great. That's just beautifully shot.
Oh, it was.
I love that. I love that part.
It made you feel like you were there.
Well, yeah. Well, Ridley Scott was trying to get the effect of when we were shooting all those rockets and stuff over to Iraq. He was trying to get that effect, and he did. He pulls that off. That look right there. The second movie tonight, or the Scott's movie, Ridley Scott directed. He got in a phase. He got in a phase using a lot of the same cast. Black Hawk Down. He just got in this epic phase of these war movies and these crusades. Basically, the crusades of Westerners against Easterners. If you look at them, really, they're all about invasion and conquering. These three movies.
Bless his
Roman
heart.
Empire,
I love these movies.
Crusades.
I am a history buff. And I mean, it's not so much that has to be perfectly historically accurate, because I'm looking for a drama, but I enjoy these.
No, I was just reading Landis' comment, Hadley the hole poker. Okay, anyway. Anyway, this has a great cast. It's got an epic cast. We forgot Richard Harris as Marcus Aurelius.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Dumbledore.
It's great. Derek Jacobi, he played that Senator Gracchus. He was wasted in Gladiator 2. He gets offed along with Connie Nielsen at the end real quick. I liked Gladiator 2. I didn't consider it a Gladiator movie, okay? I didn't consider it in relation to this movie. You can't. But it was a fun movie to watch, I thought. Plus, I'm a big Pedro Pascal fan. And so I like that. But anyway, I digress. We're talking about Gladiator, one of the best Gladiator movies out there. The Russell Crowe's second in command at the beginning. What's his name? Quintus, right? He betrays him, basically to the emperor. This is going down a rabbit hole. That same actor betrayed Kevin Costner in The Bodyguard, because he was the stalker in The Bodyguard. Same actor. So they must have had a type. You want a friend betrayer? Let's get this actor Thomas Arana to play a friend betrayer. Yeah, that's great. Anyway, I love this movie. Everything. It's a perfect movie. It gets a little slow for a minute, but it's a lot, but then it picks up. It's, as far as I know, it really kind of depicts Rome, from all the movies I've seen from the 1950s on. It looks like Rome. That's all I got to say.
Did y'all see the Rome series on HBO? Again, if you haven't seen it, you should totally watch it. And I see what y'all are saying in the chat room. I'm just ignoring y'all. Landa can do no wrong. Sorry.
My wife won't let me watch it. There's too much TNA.
I thought it did a very good portrayal, and again, I'm not an expert on this, of what it was like to be the gladiator. and when they were saying like, a quick kill is one thing, but you want to be dramatic. You've got to get the people to love you if you want to live. It was a very good, excellent movie. I did not mind watching it again.
So Oliver Reed and Russell Crowe, he hated Russell Crowe, hated him.
Really? Huh.
Yes, there's a lot you can find about that, but I think he just thought that Russell Crowe was just an arrogant, POS. But anyway, it was one of Oliver Reed's best performances.
Mm. Oh yeah, yeah. It was.
It was his last.
I mean, if we're being drunk,
he died at the very end of the filming, didn't he? Or before the end of filming?
Yeah, I believe they had to CGI him at one point because he was gone.
Oh.
Well,
I think so. I thought I read that somewhere.
I think so. I think I knew that. But no, I love this movie. And like I said, you hadn't seen it, you should watch it. If you're a Joaquin Phoenix fan, you owe it to yourself to watch it if you haven't seen it. And if you truly want to see an actor portray a despicable, I don't even know the words for him. Like I said, he's just wrong. He's just like like when you talk about someone being rotten from the core, this character is a good example. There's just nothing good about him. He's despicable.
Yeah. Craig brought up a good. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was about to say, when Joaquin Phoenix is trying to bait Russell Crowe into fighting him, when he's got all his men around him, he's talking about, what they did to his son and his wife. I thought that was just, that was some slimy evilness,
Well, and I really liked how they portrayed the Elysian Fields. That because it wasn't mystical, but it was true to the belief of the time. It hid it just enough that it made it, it gave it a vibe that I think was necessary. It just added just a whole nother element to it. And you see him in that final battle, and he's so close to death, and he's kind of going in between and out of passing away. But he does what he does to save that little boy Lucius.
What sucks is that actor, they could have brought him in to play himself in Gladiator 2, but he looks like he does. If you've ever seen that actor in movies and stuff now, he looks like the same, but 30 years old.
Yeah.
So I guess he's not too threatening looking as a gladiator.
Yeah. Well, the guy that they got to play him in Gladiator 2 didn't look like him, though. Enough.
Yeah. They should have never made a sequel to it,
I agree. I think that it tarnished it. And of course I watched it. But I watch all this stuff. Like I said, if you want to get me, find me a good historical movie. Or TV show. I watched that whole I think it was called Gladiator that was on Stars. It had Ramsay Bolton in it as was the star of it. I know who I'm talking about. Y'all know Ramsay Bolton. Yes, we can get to Braveheart. Who had Braveheart? Alan?
No, I had Braveheart.
Well, what are we gonna give this one then, real quick? Then
it's got to get a 5.
I'll give it a 4.75. I saved the 5s for particular movies.
I'll give it a 4.5.
First, he doesn't give 5s.
I do. I gave The Thing a 5.
Well, of course. But I'm going to give this one a 5. It's got a great cast. It's got, everybody in it did a great job. It's got, it held up. More importantly, it was made what year? 2000? So it's 25 years old. 2000? Yeah, 25 years old. It held up. And, Russell Crowe.
It does hold up. I'm going to go with Mona and give it a 4.5.
So, yeah.
It's a solid 4.5. Okay. I got a question for all you out there answering the chat. Which world of these three movies would you like to be? Would you rather be in? Which one? Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven, or Braveheart? Which world would you want to be in? Just answer in the chat. Let us know, and we might throw your answers out there. Braveheart, 1995, directed by Mel Gibson and written by Randall Pearl Harbor Wallace. I love this movie. I hadn't seen it in many years, and I wasn't really thrilled to watch it because I remember it as being long, and it is a long movie, but I really enjoyed it. It follows William Wallace of the Scots leading his countrymen in a rebellion to free his homeland from the tyranny of King Edward of England. This movie has some great acting. It's got a stellar cast. A lot of the guys that are in this one are in Scott's movie too. They just, hey, we need a medieval looking dude. Hey, you were in Braveheart. I'll get you. Or Gladiator. Some guys from Gladiator in that one too, in this one. Anyway, Mel Gibson plays William Wallace. He was probably about 15 years older than William Wallace. He was set to direct this movie, but Paramount wanted him to be William Wallace. He really didn't want to do it because of the age difference, but Paramount said, hey, the only reason we're going to release this movie is if you play William Wallace, because at that time, nobody hated Mel Gibson. In the public. So he was a hot commodity. He come off some big movies, making some big movies, directing some big movies. I love this movie. It's gritty. It's dirty. It's got Brian Cox and Brendan Gleeson and Patrick McGoohan and Angus McFadden in it. If you don't know who they are, look them up. Patrick McGoohan is a great actor from the 60s, 70s, British series, The Prisoner. Excellent as King Edward. Excellent. Just talk about you. You're talking about Joaquin Phoenix, how icky he was. Patrick McGoohan played a very evil King Edward. This movie is not historically accurate at all. In fact, a lot of Scotsmen, the way Robert the Bruce, played by Angus McFadden, was portrayed, because he's a national hero over there, they hated it. But he was a conflicted character. He wasn't. I like the way they did his character, because he kind of turned on. I don't really say turn on William Wallace, but he didn't go to bat for him. And then when he finally goes to bat for William Wallace, he gets betrayed by his fellow countrymen. That was the problem. These clans cannot get together. I'm not going to give a history lesson on Scotland, because you guys probably know more than I do. But this is historically an accurate movie. Exciting, entertaining. A lot of mechanical horses getting killed, which you can't tell in this movie. I think the SPCA were very upset, but they used mechanical horses for the death scenes, because there's some pretty brutal death scenes of men. I mean, there's a lot of very brutal deaths. And when you watch this movie, if you're a fan of The Office, there's that prima nocta part in it where the king or noble, whatever in that area, can have the woman that's getting married first before her betrothed does. And that was something they never imposed on Scotland, because they knew they would have a major rebellion, kind of like what sparked this one in Scotland and a lot of the European countries. They knew they could do it in France. They said, yeah, we could do it in France, but these other countries that were over, we can't do, because their people would not stand for prima nocta. So that was a total falsehood in this movie. But anyway, go for it, everybody. What do you say?
All right.
Anybody? Bueller?
It's a good movie. As a movie, it is really well done. I saw a lot of similarities to Gladiator. It was just a decent guy who was, doing his job. Though Wallace in this one wasn't a gladiator. And, the bunch of assholes running the show ruined his life, and he turned on them. And he wreaked revenge. Fight scenes were great. I loved it when they were mooning and flashing the British soldiers. The other characters were great. I don't remember who played Robert the Bruce. He was fantastic in it.
I loved him.
Yeah,
Angus McFadden.
And I don't remember who played the British king.
Patrick McGoohan.
Patrick McGoohan. And just the way he picked on his son, who was not a warrior. It's a great movie. But I'm not surprised that the guys who wrote this wrote Pearl Harbor, because it is a historical nightmare. For example, Braveheart was not the name William Wallace had. That was given to Robert Bruce. And let me see, after Robert the Bruce died, his friend took the king's heart on a crusade to honor his dying wish. And they only got as far as southern Spain when the Moors attacked, and James threw the casket containing Bruce's heart towards the enemy, crying, "Onwards, brave heart! Douglas shall follow thee or die." So, I mean, the fact that the whole movie is named after the wrong character. There was a battle scene that took place at a bridge, but nobody ever saw any bridge on that. His wife never was killed that way. What was it?
Her name was Marion. Her name was Marion instead of Maron. They didn't want to confuse it with Robin Hood.
With Robin Hood.
Yeah.
And according to what I read, a lot of this is based on the writings of this guy named Blind Harry, who wrote it 100 years after the event, saying, "Oh, I based this on stories I was told." But I mean, we know Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't produce historically accurate movies. They produce movies that are going to make you happy. Historically, it sucked. As a movie, I think it's one of my favorite. It is probably one of my 2 or 3 favorite Mel Gibson performances. It was written well. It was great directed. I mean, the fight scenes were just like in Gladiator. They were just so massive, so over the top, so awesome. I can see why this was. Did you say Mel Gibson? Did he win an Academy Award for this?
He directed it. Yeah,
So
I think
he
so. I think
Okay.
Doc had it on there. He makes these movies that are just, like Apocalypto, and that are just, Passion of the Christ, are just, wow, cinematic movies. I was gonna say, crap. I'll catch it later. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I had something, but I lost it.
Oh no, that's all I've got to say about it. Great movie, cinematographically, horrible movie historically.
Fun movie to watch. Oh, I was going to say, Angus McFadden that played Robert the Bruce, he got to play Robert the Bruce like 15 later in the movie Robert the Bruce. So he got to play that character again and do the story of him. So I think it had a following. There's a sequel to this on Netflix, The Outlaw King with Chris Pine. It's basically what happens after William Wallace's body parts are spread to the wind. What happens to Scotland?
Yeah.
So anyway, happy. It's worth watching. It's a fun movie. Got some of the same guys in that as this.
So can I make my ugly comment?
You can.
Yes.
Mel Gibson was way too old to play this role.
Oh,
And I know he didn't want to, but I mean, it was very hard to, not being familiar with the history, as I should be. It was very hard for me to accept him playing a Twitter-pated young man so besotted by his love that he behaved the way he did.
Were you still listening to the recordings that his Russian girlfriend put out there in public when he was having this little romantic love affair on the screen?
No. What happened?
Because I heard that in the back of my head, the things that he said to her, and while he's romancing
I don't even
Catherine
know what
McCormick.
you're talking about, Alan. Fill me in on the tea.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
I can't say it here. It'd be a lot of bleep, bleep. I'm going to get some bleeps to believe you. Bleep, bleep. It's a lot of that. So I can't say it here. Look it up. Look it up. It's insane. It's insane. Alcohol is a bad thing. But anyway, I'm sorry, Hadley. Go ahead and go on.
No.
Hey, Max.
Come on, Max, everyone.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it, but yeah, I was just like, it just takes away from the story that we had to navigate that. So anyway,
It's like he has his Lethal Weapon hair during this movie. I kept seeing him as the dude in Lethal Weapon with that hair. Anyway,
well, the guy
I love this movie.
the one who plays in Bruges with Colin Farrell, who's
Brendan Gleeson. Brendan
loved
Gleeson.
him. It was wonderful to see him when he was still kind of hot, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing all these guys when they're young, and it was great. Like, what's the guy that I was telling you was from Sons of Anarchy? He was also in Gladiator.
Tommy Flanagan.
Yeah, he was just a baby in this,
Yeah. You're talking about Brendan Gleeson. The guy that played his dad, James Cosmo, in there. They were only 7 years age difference in those two actors. But that guy's looked old. All his, he was commander of the Wall in Game of Thrones. Lord Mormont.
I didn't realize that was him, but yeah.
And Brendan Gleeson was a sheriff in Lake Placid. So,
yeah, I didn't recognize him from that either.
Yeah. And then Brian Cox, that played his Mel Gibson's uncle at the beginning, that took him to Rome and everything. Yeah. He's the trooper chief in Super Troopers. No more of these shenanigans.
Oh, that's right.
Love that guy. How can they do such great American accents?
Because it was easy to do.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was good.
So
there were some things that were so hard for me to, to get my head around, like with the queen or the princess. Was she a queen or a princess? The French girl.
Princess.
The French girl. And
she was a princess, gonna be the queen.
I was like, how can she sneak out of the castle with 2 people and go off into Scotland? It just seems like someone would have followed her, and it seemed like somebody would have said, hey, you're going to find out that you're cheating on your husband and they're going to get you, because that's what they did to women back then. I think she would have played the game smarter.
Yeah, I think it'd be a big deal to leave.
With his mullet, she just had to have some.
Yeah. That's true. But, so, do you want to rate this one then? Or do you have more? Abby?
I got nothing. I just couldn't get past Mel Gibson in this movie.
I agree with you, because when it focused on him, you could see, how old was he? 35?
It's like 38.
At the time. 38. I mean, which isn't old. I mean, but you could see the, age lines, because he's a smoker too, big smoker and a drinker, and he was
well bettered.
Yeah. No, I get it. So what? Okay. So Hadley, what do you give this one?
I'll give it a 4. Again, it's a historical drama. I enjoyed that. It was kind of like a crossover action film that was really trying to be history, but it really wasn't. But I enjoyed it. It was a good watch, especially back then. But I don't think it held up today. I do not think it held up because of
yeah.
Landis complaining about you and me, Alan.
I can't get you, Landis. Sorry, I can't do both.
It was on
I'm going to give it a 3.5 because it just took so long to get into the action sequences on this. It was like, okay. I think it was like over an hour before something, really exciting happened in the movie. Yes. So I give it
I'll give this one a 4.5. To me, it's a layered movie. There's a lot of layers to this movie, and nobody does. Let me know if you agree with me. Nobody does anguish like Mel Gibson. That dude can just on his face, you can just see, especially like in The Patriot, I'm going to kill you, and then he'll give you that look back, I'm going to kill you, and you can just tell that he's going to kill this guy. No, I don't think anyone can do that face better than he can. You just see it all there, and I don't know if it's him not acting or he's just a hell of an actor that way. But I think he can do anguish better than anybody right now.
I gotta ask Alan, because I'm
yes.
Got a hole. So, what anguish are you talking about? Because when he was being eviscerated, I didn't think he did such a great job. I thought, well, if I was being eviscerated, I would probably do a little bit more blinking and crying and biting my lip, trying not to cry out.
Yeah, but you're a girl.
I do not know, Alan.
We're going to get demonetized for that now, right? Not that we're monetized.
Let me finish. I had to go Google what the F happened to William Wallace because I didn't know. I'm like, well, did they pull up his skirt? What are they doing? Are they cutting off his thing? What's going on here? Because I never would have thought he was being eviscerated because he did not look like he was in that much pain.
Yeah.
But they had to for the movie. If he was screaming and crying, it would have detracted from him. The fact that he took the pain and wouldn't give up that satisfaction.
Eviscerated. Come on.
Well, he was trying to be strong for Scotland. He was trying to be strong. He couldn't be like, oh.
Well, again, that wasn't the anguish.
I would have been like that. I would have said, you know what? Bring anything out, King Edward. I'll kiss whatever it is. Just don't, like whatever. I'll kiss everybody in this crowd. Just don't throw me to the winds in 15 different pieces. But I think, it was just for the screen. But if you watch his movies where he's got anger going on, which I think he's an angry man inside, and no one does that better than him. Just watch The Patriot. Watch the scenes where his sons are killed and stuff, and he's dealing with Jason Isaacs.
Probably my favorite Mel Gibson movie outside of the whole Mad Max thing. Because I do feel like he does, but in this one, like I said, I had to Google to see what happened because I didn't feel like I understood, and that because to me it wasn't that much. It was kind of like like I said, I don't know what I thought they were doing, but it was not being eviscerated. He just didn't like use that.
Beep. Well, we better push along to Kingdom of Heaven. Scott's got a heavy load there to carry.
All right.
Kingdom of Heaven, another Ridley Scott directed movie, made in 2005. It is the story of, and apparently looking into this, it's loosely based on a true guy. I think his name is Balian, who was played by
Orlando Bloom.
And his wife in the movie, his wife committed suicide. I think it was because the loss of their child was born, stillborn of that. So he's betrayed by a good friend, and he joins up with Liam Neeson, who's great in everything he does, who trains him, makes him a knight, and trains him to be a warrior. And he follows Liam Neeson and that to the Kingdom of Heaven, where they're going to defend Jerusalem. And then he becomes the leading figure. He gathers everybody together, and You've got the bad guy. Oh God, I can't think of his name. The guy that was the guy that was raiding everybody.
Martin Sokas, Guy de Lausanne.
Yes, yeah, he was raiding all of the Muslim caravans, stealing them, killing them, and he was pissing off the Muslim leader at the time, Saladin. And it eventually comes down to the final confrontation between the Christians led by Balian and the Muslims led by Saladin. I had a lot of problems with this movie. I mean, the fight scenes, when it got about 2.5 hours into the movie, when they're raiding Jerusalem, were very good, very well done, and from what I know of it, very historically accurate. But it took about 2 hours, a little longer, to get there. It's the whole trip over. And then when they get there, you're meeting the characters, and he gets this house, and he starts building up the house and taking the desert and getting the water to grow things. And it was like, okay, can we get to this? This is the kingdom of heaven. This is not, there should be more. I didn't like the fact that they made the Knights Templars out to be the bad guys. They were not the bad guys. And I was doing some reading on it. The Knights Templars weren't the bad guys. Balian was made to be, Orlando Bloom was made to be non-religious, that he had lost his faith because Ridley Scott didn't want to portray the Christians in the light of the time, which was, if we're killing people for God, it's okay. And that's the same what he did with Saladin. He made Saladin a much more, the actor who played him was fantastic, but he made him as a much more caring, forgiving leader.
Benevolent.
Malevolent. Whereas both sides were brutal. Both sides just butchered each other because it was the Middle Ages. I don't know. I didn't like the fact that they didn't do any filming in Jerusalem. They didn't even do long shots of Jerusalem. Through the whole movie, I'm like, okay, what city is this? I did like the battle. Like I said, I love the battle scenes on it. And how they ended the movie, I think, was very good. How they resolved the issue of who was going to win control of Jerusalem was very historically accurate. And I think that part was very well done. But I really, I studied Middle Eastern history for years in the agency. And of the 3 movies, this one bored me the most, except for that last half hour. So that's my opinion.
Natalie? She fell asleep just talking about it. Natalie? Well, I'll jump in.
I love this movie.
Oh, there you go. Go ahead.
I actually, going back to my historical reenactment phase, I had my character, a lot of the costumes were based off of the queens in this movie.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, Orlando Bloom is probably I love me some Legolas, but it's probably my second favorite stuff that he's done. So, I don't know. Again, Lord of the Rings, love him first in that. But yeah, this is probably my favorite after that.
Did you like him in that Musketeers movie?
Jeremy Irons is always phenomenal in everything he does.
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, he kind of stole the show in this one. His performance, it's what sticks around later. You can forget everybody else, but you're always going to remember Jeremy Irons.
I was kind of surprised that Liam Neeson didn't make it past the first hour in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you forgot you had a Lannister in here for a little bit for a heartbeat in this movie. Jamie Lannister. He was in here for a heartbeat.
Uh,
I missed that.
Do you remember that scene at the beginning when they ambush Liam Neeson and Orlando Bloom? They're trying to arrest him
Yeah.
for killing Michael Sheen. That's Nicholas Coster Waldau, his nephew, plays his nephew that tries to arrest Orlando Bloom. So it's got a big cast. It's got the dude from Dog Soldiers in it for a heartbeat too. Oh, Kevin McKidd from Grey's Anatomy, I think he's on it now. But he's the lead in Dog Soldiers. He was in it. But there's a lot of people in
one
this.
thing about all of these movies I enjoyed, it reminded me of the old war movies of the 60s and 70s, where you had these huge casts. You know, everybody knew 5 or 6 or 7 of them. You know, John Wayne, Henry Fonda, Paul Anka. That is one thing I liked about these movies. There were so many actors and actresses you knew in it. You know, and as I'm watching them, it's like, wow, you know, that's Jeremy Irons. Cool.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, there was what about you, Heather?
What about me? Didn't I already speak?
Oh. Is that it? Are you done?
Yeah, I mean, I
to
hope I need to rewatch it. I've seen it so many times before. It just didn't work out that I had time to do it this week.
You know, do you remember Michael Sheen was in it? He played that evil priest at the beginning. That is great.
And let me
his brother played.
Hold on a minute and realize that each of these movies was epically long.
Yes.
So
Yes.
It wasn't like I just bailed and said, "Oh, Kingdom of Heaven." No, I just didn't have 3 hours to watch it. So.
I think I like this movie better than Scott does, though, because I've probably seen it about 3 times. This is the first time or second time I've seen the extended version. But I do agree it does have some slow parts. It really does. You know, I think the beginning moves a little bit when Liam Neeson comes in there and they got to fight those guys for a little bit. I mean, that adds a little bit of action to it, you know. But then, him getting over there to Jerusalem and getting involved because there's nothing really happens. You know, he has that run in with Guy, Les Sillon or whatever the hell his name is. You know, but, there's really no violence like an hour and a half into the movie after the beginning. They need to make a good Crusader movie, man.
They do.
They really do.
I've always wanted to see what happened to Robin Hood over when he was on the Crusades.
Well, they did that in the Costner movie.
They just touched on
it. Yeah, they did.
I want to see the stories. I want to know what really happened. I want to see behind, the scenes.
Yeah, I love that Robin Hood movie, even though Costner, sounds like he's from California in it. I like that movie. It's fun. Robin Hood movies are fun.
Yeah.
Well, the cast in that movie was really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Rickman.
We did watch it when we did Best Villains, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did we watch
I wasn't sure if we did Rickman as him or if we did Rickman as Hans Gruber.
I think we might have done.
I think we did him.
Now, the one that we really need to watch him in is, what is it? What is it?
Galaxy Quest?
Yes, Galaxy Quest. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the one that's great. Yeah.
I love that.
They're doing a sequel to that. They're doing a sequel to that.
Oh, God, no. That was too brilliant the way it was. The cast for that was perfect. And I love the way they made the geeks the heroes.
Well, I heard, Scott, that they weren't. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, just the way that the kids bring it in, and they bring it in, and they're giving them the information on how to fix it. I love that. It made them heroes rather than just like the nerdy kids.
And Rickman was great in that, but Sam Rockwell steals that movie.
Yeah.
He has the red shirt. He steals that movie. But yeah, I'd heard they weren't going to make a sequel to it because Alan Rickman. They didn't want to, go forward because he's, no longer here. But apparently, money talks, and
But it's gonna.
So what do we give this one?
They're all going to be so old.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kingdom of Heaven, mostly for the fact that it was so long and so boring at the beginning, and just they didn't even show a scene of 2.5.
All right, Hadley?
A what?
2.5.
Wow, that's low.
Yes.
I'm probably going to give it a 3.75. I love the costumes in this movie. Like I said, that's what I kind of used to get some inspiration for my persona for the SCA.
Oh, yeah.
And I really liked a lot of the visuals of it.
Oh yeah, we didn't even mention Eva Green because she played the princess, right? Or Sibylla or whatever. She's great in that. Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, I think Eva Green is one of the most beautiful women in the world. She's just stunning.
She's not in enough. I mean, she's in a lot, but not enough. Not enough
Sin City.
things that. Oh yeah, that's right.
City 2. I watched both of those. I don't remember. A Dame to Kill For in that one.
And she's got a new movie called Dirty Angels, an action movie. I think it's streaming.
Well, she was really good in that series that she did, the spooky series.
Penny Dreadful?
Psychic.
Is that the one with Ethan Hawke? Not Ethan Hawke.
Talking about the wolf guy.
Yeah, the wolf. Yeah, he played the werewolf. The dude from Black Hawk Down.
Yeah, that's why. What is his name?
What is it? What's the guy's name that was the lead in Black Hawk Down, folks? He gets mixed up with Ethan Hawke.
Oh God, I don't know.
Come on, Max. Come on, Max.
Penny Dreadful.
Who played the werewolf guy?
Penny Dreadful is the show, and I love that show. I wish they had not done away with it.
The way they ended it was, I didn't like the way they rushed to end it. They rushed to kill it. I don't know why either, because I thought it was doing good, but it's a good series.
He was in Black Hawk Down.
Yeah, Josh Hartnett.
Yes, Josh.
Yes. Tony gives it 2.5. He said it's no house shark. No house shark. I got to give it a 3. I got to give it 3.5, just because I like Crusader movies, and it had a stellar cast, but it was slow in a lot of parts.
Yeah, the beginning was way too slow for me. That's just by the time the action picked up about 45 minutes near the end, it was like I'll watch. And I do agree with this one.
I do agree with you, Scott. The way they made the Crusaders, the Templars, and Orlando Bloom's character, not taking a side. Yeah. I could see them being weary of killing, because they did some slaughtering, and that's got to mess you up. Yeah. But his character hadn't really done any of that. He'd been in some wars, but not religious, not holy wars,
No.
So
no, and Ridley Scott said he did it that way purposely because he wanted to have the militant Muslims and the Templars as the bad guys, with Balian and Saladin as the good guys. But they tamed down the Christianity and Islam of the two of them to make them more malevolent, to make them more
malevolent.
To make them more tempered and that.
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, that was part of his all Western invasion phase he went through with those 3 movies that he did, and they're all good movies. Well, I like this movie just because it's a Crusader movie. You pull out a sword and I'll watch.
I've got a couple of questions because we're getting low on time. So, which film's battle scene hit you the hardest?
Braveheart. I mean, they kind of did like really, go a little bit hard on Braveheart.
Alan?
I'll say Gladiator. The final scene between Joaquin Phoenix and Mel Gibson, Russell Crowe. They're both kind of Australians. That was, because he's dying.
Sorry, they just canceled school tomorrow. So
Yeah, for Scott.
it's supposed to start snowing around like within the next hour, and it's supposed to go till noon. So
Okay. Well, I'm going to stick with my opening scene of Gladiator when they're in Germania. I love that scene. It hit me
That
hard.
is a good scene.
Okay. Who did you think was this week's most compelling protagonist?
No. I would say Maximus.
yeah,
How about you,
because
Ed?
he was betrayed by his friend because he wouldn't suck up to the bad king. His family was killed, and you wanted him. I love the way he tormented Joaquin Phoenix in that.
Yeah. How about you, Heather?
I definitely think Maximus. So I don't think that y'all read it, but I did a vampire story with a vampire named Maximus, based off that character.
Really?
Is that the second one or the?
It was going to be in our book that was never published because we got tired of trying to.
Oh,
publish.
yeah. Yes.
I mean, I tried to send it, I think, to our beloved Rick Restucci, and I think I needed, it became like I could write a whole series based off of this apocalyptic vampire story. So I might do it one day. You never know.
It's the Red Riding. Is it the Red Riding Hood one?
It's in that world, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the flip side of vampires in that.
Yeah. That's a good story. It's just been a while since I read that.
Well, I don't know. Go in. I don't know if you. We'll talk about that another time. Y'all don't want to hear about my writing. Anyway, so lastly, and this is for the chat room too. Let's get the chat room involved. How do you feel like these movies hold up today? I know we've all seen them.
Yeah. I agree with you, Max. I think they all hold up as far as, you're not watching the Vikings with Kirk Douglas. I think they kind of hold up as far as I think they still hold up. I'm not saying they're, but they hold up, especially Gladiator. Gladiator really holds up.
Yeah, I think so too. I think these were three good films. I'm glad we did them together. It's a lot of range, but it was very similar in,
I don't think
of war and freedom.
I don't think Braveheart and Kingdom of Heaven hold up as much. Gladiator, because it's got a lot of action in it. At the beginning and then in the middle. And
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to change the subject, but Joaquin Phoenix in this film is the epitome of creepy pervert, weird, creepy guy. I mean, the look on his face, and I'm again going to change my subject as soon as I get off of this. But when he is touching her, after she comes in from being with Maximus, oh my God, my skin just crawled.
Yeah.
His family was part of the Children of God cult.
No,
I knew that they were in a cult growing up, but
Children of God. It was
a lot of well, Christina Ricci was in a cult too, and Rose McGowan. I mean, a lot of these California people
Hey, I was never in a cult.
that we know of.
Yeah, true.
All right. So Next week, we don't want to miss next week's episode of Watching Wyrd. You're going to be excited to see. We are actually going to have 3 more hot movies ready for y'all to watch, and it's going to be Con Games and Clever Schemes with Ocean's 11, Catch Me If You Can, and the 1973 classic, The Sting.
Nice.
All right. So, see y'all next week.
Take care.
Somebody do the finger. Retrostucci in the house.
There we go.
All right, Wordlings, that's all for Watching Wyrd this week. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, the strange and unusual never sleeps. Well, except for maybe on Thursdays. Speaking of sleep schedules, here's a quick reminder about our other shows. Dive into the mysteries of the mind with Weird Awakenings every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Cozy up with blondes, books, and campfire tales for spooky stories every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hone your craft and connect with fellow writers on Write With Me on the 3rd Sunday of each month. And don't forget, Watching Wyrd now airs live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For all things weird, find us on social media via Linktree in the description below, or visit our website at weirdrealities.net. Stay weird.